queen stays on the e file, you can't move the rook off the back rank. So that's step one. And g4, that's step two. But I gotta say, where does the rook? What if the rook does go to the third? What if the rook stays on the back rank? What are your moves? Just play g6. Rook a6 because queen a check, king h7, queen f7. Oh, yeah. 6. There was this golden opportunity. He missed the chance. He'll have it again, maybe.
But it is a big deal if we get a rook to
Yes, it is big. It is
yeah, with the king being on h7, f7 is fallible.
Yeah, but getting the f6. Really set up a fortress anymore. If you get king where? f6? I mean, if I have king on e5, you play rook e6, queen e6, f6. That, we're not doing that for sure. But I'm wondering if you play. Now you can't even play c6. Yes. What did he just do?
Because the king is gonna make his way to b7, like a king,
And then f7. Oh, it's long.
Exactly.
These checks.
and Archelaus is doing this beautiful pawn sacrifice with b3, breaking through so that there was a b3, a takes b3, and this is how he created the a passer, the famous distance between the pawns that there is no way for black to defend this. And what I'm talking about, just perhaps three moves, and you have seen this starting break. This takes, bishop is taking care of the b pawn, and then pushing the pawns. move ahead in the next round.
We might be. And it was also a decisive game in the battle that you mentioned earlier on between Adiban against Alexander Bishop. Alexander Bishop won. So
3 out of 3
three
for
out of
Sasha
three
as well.
for Sasha, yes. And it looks like everything is going in Arjun's way as he has a winning position against Jinshi Bai.
I'd like to point out there's a trio that we saw very early on. Vaughn, Ali Reza, and Fabiana Caruana. We saw them on the top boards together. They're now doing some kind of dance, which maybe is a spiral dance of death as far as they're concerned. They're following each other. First round, they're drew. Second round, they're all one. Third round, they're all drew. That trio, like, what are you doing? You're giving away half of what you're bleeding those points. And all of them, Fallujah, Aronian, and Fabiana Caruana sitting in 2 points out of 3 as though they lost the game somehow. And they got the right score too, but how it feels now, a full point through the favorites who are saying win this event, a full point on Magnus. And I keep beating it drumbeat. Honest thing, close to this guy if you're gonna have a chance, because he just keeps getting those extra points. Later when you play him, you're gonna be a point behind. You're gonna have to beat him if you're going to just catch up to him. So far, he's keeping
So this is what we talked about, that actually by going forward, running away with the tournament, you might get actually more comfortable opponents, like Magnus played knight to the Zaga, while Caruana with 1.5 played against Lazovic. This is how it works, because the tournament is so strong that so many brilliant players are stuck there with +1 kind of score, and you can't run forward.
Yeah, it's definitely tough. And seeing this happen now, hate to start betting, but if there was some plays to be made, it's going to look really familiar. Who's starting to run away with this one?
Well, it's still early days yet, and one of the things about this particular event is that we often see winners who are completely unexpected, total surprise. And anything can still happen. I mean, I remember when Bobby and Anastasia predicted that one. And I just want to, Maurice, if you could pull this game up, a game between David Anton against 16-year-old Lisa Brown. It's in level 13. So you could kind of just
By the way, that is going to be 25-0-3 or something, so Kevin Butler because he's already like 700
an empty playing hall means that every game has.
Wait a second,
Wait,
there's
hang on
one
a
more
second.
game.
Hang on a
There's one
second.
more
Let's
game there,
don't
2
confuse
more
me.
games.
But let's take a look at the results so far. Magnus showing us why he is the in-game wizard with a fantastic win over Ichirizaga. There's also a win from Vladislav Artemiev with a beautiful opposite colour bishop endgame. There's one game start going Arjun Garagaitis, but he's looking like he's in great shape against Jinshi Bai. But it was a round of surprises, you know. Maurice showed us earlier on how
first day. And then the evening, I see him, and I saw he got here. I said, yeah. And I was like, okay, so how things going? He says, well, we're arranging to play some paddle tomorrow. I said, paddle? What's that? He said, oh, I'm like a king of paddle. I'm a king. He said, you know, I can't play tennis anymore. I gotta run around. Paddle is like tennis for the older people, right? And I'm like God level. I'm like God level. He's been playing a while. I've never played before. And then he said, well, we might play basketball. And I'm like, what the heck? Isn't the first thing you do, you get to the tournament, you unpack your bags, and you can't just go rest? Think about relaxing. No. He's got the group together. He put me in the group. I had to work the next day. We went to do tapings, and then come here for rehearsals and stuff. But he's thinking, I'm just gonna go have some fun the day before and come in. And then you know what? The next day I'm gonna come in and just win 3 games in a row. That's how I know. His attitude is just so loose with him. You gotta smile whenever he's around.
Yeah, absolutely. But actually, I would say that is a trend of the young players these days. You know, they're actually valuing their leisure time just as much as their preparation and playing. You know, Magnus is the one who kind of really set the standard there. I remember one of my friends played alongside him and for the team, and they didn't do any preparation. Magnus was like, right, football pitch. And the whole team just played football until the game, and then they were like, okay. And they really worked, actually.
And he famously likes to go play golf
Yeah.
as well. He loves golf. And his first thing is, where's the golf course? Coming in to go play some golf. I'm like, wait a second, dude, you got all these hours to play golf and then play that same day. He might go, I remember somebody told me about him playing out in the sun for hours playing golf and then coming in to play tennis later. I don't think it worked out for him too well that day, but yeah, you're right about the leisure time. And almost particularly athletic leisure, not just
yourself is very important because it just keeps on hunting. I played the perfect game, I crushed my opponent, and then I blunder checkmate game one. How do you recover from it?
Yeah, that is going to be the question for Tan Zhongyi. Can she show her mettle? Well, we'll find out. And also, Alexandra Goreshkina, very impressive. She's now still 100%. She won her game against Leia Garifullina. And, you know, she's really just just how she played against Alexandra. Stunning winning there. And Mika also winning her game. So, it's
97. So
Okay, so
yeah, move 97 is when we see the last capture. 147 moves. We're at 115 right now.
it will be played out.
Yeah, get a snack and some water. They're gonna keep playing. He's gonna see whether or not this is under that. Well, fortunately, he did draw that game.
Yeah.
That's epic. 240 moves. He said.
Over 260. I don't know exactly. Yeah, between
200 of those were just.
the warm-up before things escalated.
Wow, and this was at one of these. Yes, or was it another
It
event?
was not
Awards?
2007, yes, but exactly I think that year it was Cold War Championship and Jockey went on to win it finally, but yeah, it was the whole tournament was on hold. Everybody was trying to get the plans, what are we doing, are we really playing chess or what's that? Insane.
Well, they're still at it. I don't think they're going to get to your number. They're 123, obviously, so they won't get to yours. That's for sure. But this is something that's basic, folks. You've got to learn how to draw this position, or else you're going to suffer it one day, especially if you're at the GM level or your aspiration. Tendency is to become a GM one day. Learn this. Just learn it. Save yourself the heartache and the embarrassment of losing one of these in a big event like this one.
Yeah, absolutely important to know your endings. Also important to know your openings because you've got to go to Board 32 in the game between Jordan and Race. As a pro that was a bit of an opening disaster. A little bit didn't quite work out. It was a Ray's initial position. And yeah, but the fun begins already on move 16. It's already pretty sharp. And just like you say, when you go into a position like this where everything is just hanging in the balance, good luck if you don't know your stuff.
Exactly, yeah, it's especially with this faster time control, if things go out of your way and things escalate,
Yeah.
let's see.
Does the play out in this position?
Yeah,
Is-
one of those wild ones. Whoever rouser or skipping in type of position. Oh, really? G4, G5.
Can you imagine it was 16 minutes was the night off? We saw yes.
83.
Black men losing move after instantly D6 or G4. You can't do that. That's the whole point. It's a psychological trap.
Wow.
I got G4 in one go.
83. Okay, well, they come up with big days, and now G5. Now he has everything. Pawn scorching down the board, just natural development. No B4 that's going to happen anytime soon. And in the meantime, the pawns are marching. G6 is already an idea. And then you allow F4 to play knight to C4 and allow this capture thanks to the free tempo. And after castle, right at all you could dream of in this position here is pawns way too advanced already and blind down massive tempi in the position he tried to move forward to C8 and now King B1. That might have been slightly off, maybe 3 for the agency was best, but now B4 not having any kind of efficacy here in this position. He tried A5 and rook sack, straight sack, normal, typical in many positions, but not this one. Now you're just in trouble. After Queen F3 and boy, that king. Look at this rook. Look at this bishop. Look at that king. You got nobody in the game. You're just gonna suffer this position, and
it went from just bad to worse. Yeah, no, I mean, Black didn't really get a game in that one. And so, okay, looking at some of the results, seeing that Hans Niemann, he won his game. So he is moving up the standings. And it was a good round, it seems, for the Norwegians with Johan Sebastian Christensen winning against Shakira Mammadjarov. Black pieces.
That's huge.
And a big result, a 147, a big result. Something happened after having two draws against the monsters. Young Faustino Moro finally lost against Crystal Winston. I know there's a lot of fans who are rooting for that youngster, and one day, for the next 5-6 years, he's gonna be a true animal.
but of course, if somebody comes and puts back the engine and guys actually get there, then what?
Throwing the same thing now, getting another right here. Against Nakamura, missed the one who won the US Championship. And
That was it.
this was all three US Championship. Played Nakamura and Mo took he was the young version of Nakamura, not Nakamura today, but nevertheless, I'm gonna have a nice little scout. After that, my son was born and left just behind, playing this way. But yeah, not necessarily a performance. And that game, by the way, again, we were the performance. He had missed the move, and somebody, maybe it was John Doe, or somebody came up to us and said,
Yeah, I gotta say that, for our players, that's exactly the question that they're gonna be facing. Some of them will have to leave the past behind them. Some of them will have to just roll on with the punches, just carry on with the momentum. But they're on a rest, and we are gonna take a short break. And when we return, we're gonna break down the action of round 4. It's gonna be insane. Don't miss it. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you.